That's better.
Okay.
But we need to read it first, right?
Yes, chapter 16. Go ahead. Everyone pick one good quality and the one that you want to grow. So go ahead, Anandi.
Read it. Oh, I haven't picked anything out yet.
Just read it. Just
Okay.
grab it.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, nonviolence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor, these transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with the divine nature.
Okay, everybody just grab one really quick. There they are. They're all free. Just take one. Which one do you want?
Steady determination.
Man, that was mine. All right, you got it then.
Cultivation of spiritual knowledge.
Oh, good
Man,
one.
that was mine.
You gotta grab quick. Grab them quick. Don't think about it. Just grab one.
Purification of one's existence.
Okay. I'm going to grab freedom from covetousness before Matthew grabs it.
I'm gonna say freedom from anger.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyone feel like saying anything about why they chose what they chose? I'm going to say freedom from covetousness by quoting that sign I saw in 1997 at the Ayurvedic doctor's office that said 99% of our miseries come from comparing ourselves to others. And so, yeah, if I could stop that, then I'd be 99% more happy. Okay, go ahead.
That's
Anybody?
purification of your existence.
Oh yeah, that would have been covered by you. You always grab
Yes. The good ones.
that covers everything.
Yep,
All right.
pretty much.
And Isaac, what did you choose?
I chose cultivation of spiritual knowledge.
Ooh.
And I guess just because I'm semi-new, want to learn more, and can't really advance without spiritual knowledge.
Okay, and whatever one you grab, you're definitely going to have it by the time we finish the Bhagabad Gita. That's a guarantee. So that's good. You're going to be cultivating spiritual knowledge by the time we end the Bhagavad Gita.
Hopefully.
Okay. Elijah, let's see, what did you choose? Determination, steady determination. All right. Man, I got a feeling you got it. Tell us about
Mostly
it.
because I tend to be an all or nothing person.
Uh-huh.
And I tend to like either go all in or I'm all out.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna study like determination towards something positive.
Okay. I'm glad you're all in with us. Steady determination. And freedom from anger. All right, Matthew.
I was thinking of a passage where Krishna talks about the connection between lust and anger and just kind of, I'm not sure what he said. He said it was kind of like a key thing, like connected to one's fallen nature.
Oh, okay. at the end of this chapter, he says there are three gates leading to hell: lust, anger, and greed.
Uh-huh.
Any sane man should give up these three things. So there you go. So we shall proclaim Matthew Turner as a sane man.
Thank you.
And you're definitely going to have freedom from anger by the time we finish this chapter.
Great.
All right, so we picked out how many? 6 really good qualities. And these are, how does it say? These transcendental qualities belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. And so now let's read, let's see, I haven't set up the order. Let's see, I guess Elijah is next. So Anundi, Elijah, Isaac, and Matthew. That's our order. I don't need to write that down.
Okay. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demonic nature or Sanaprita.
Okay, remember the acronym for these wonderful qualities? Anyone? Apache.
Oh,
Remember that one?
Yeah.
How does it go? Try it. See if you can remember it using the acronym. Politically incorrect acronym. Just go ahead and read it off.
Arrogance, pride, anger, conceit, harshness, ignorance.
Yeah. Arrogance, pride, anger. And I remember last time we talked about this, Laura said, well, it ends with an I. That's not how you spell Apache. And
True.
someone's, all right, Apache I. So maybe that would be a better way to remember it. Apache I, somebody with an eye patch. But then we'll be discriminating against people with eye patches. All right, arrogance, pride, anger, conceit, harshness, and ignorance. I hope you don't know anybody that knows. I hope you don't know anyone that's like that. Let's read this
oh,
book.
wow.
This looks fun. The Royal Road to Hell. Whose turn is it? Oh,
Mine.
yeah.
In this verse, the royal road to hell is described. The demoniac nature want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual science, although they do not follow the principles.
And Matthew?
They are always arrogant or proud in possessing some type of education or so much wealth. They desire to be worshipped by others and demand respectability, although they do not command respect.
Okay, if you're thinking of any personalities now, don't mention the names. We're just speaking about principles. It's real
Over,
easy.
okay.
Go ahead.
Over trifles, they become very angry and speak harshly, not gently. They do not know what should be done and what should not be done.
They do everything whimsically, according to their own desire, and they do not recognize any authority. These demonic qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies in the wombs of their mothers, and as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities.
So it's coming from the previous life, but where did that come from? And in the previous chapters, it says by association with the modes of material nature. So although he's saying, let's see, somewhere in, oh yeah, abhijatasya, agyanam cha abhijatasya, abhijata, of one who is born of. That's where he's taking that they're born with these qualities. Some people can just develop them. If you hang around people like this, it'll rub off on you. You can create fresh new demons. Okay, next verse.
The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demoniac qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities.
So all of that long list that Anandi read, that brings about qualities that are conducive to liberation. So that long list includes freedom from anger, freedom from covetousness, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, steady determination. And what was the other one? Come on, Anandi. What?
Freedom from anger.
Sorry.
Freedom from
Purification of one's
purification of one's existence. So these are qualities that are conducive for liberation, whereas the demonic qualities make for bondage. So qualities such as a patch eye. What is that? Who wants to try it from memory? Anger.
Pride, is it pride?
Anger, pride.
It's another A.
Conceit.
Arrogant,
Arrogance. Conceit.
harshness,
Harshness.
ignorance.
And the I stands for
Ignorant.
ignorance. Yeah, good. I was getting worried about you guys. If you're ignorant, then that's demonic.
Well, depends on the day.
And the subject matter. Okay, so get with the program, guys. If you don't know it, then you're in ignorance, which is demonic. So, but really, there are people that know a lot of things, but they're ignorant. They don't get it. And I know really, really smart people that do really dumb things. And that's ignorance. And then I know people with like minimal education, but they've got good qualities like steady determination and just getting stuff done, and they get somewhere. Okay, so demonic qualities make for bondage. So what's better, freedom or bondage?
Freedom.
Freedom? You didn't have to think long about that one. You're sure about it?
Positive.
Positive. Yeah, we're in the land of the free. For some of us. All right, next verse.
O son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine and the other demoniac. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demoniac.
Wait,
Those
skip one?
What did you say, Elijah?
Did we skip one?
No. We're on
Okay.
7.
All right.
Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them.
They say that this world is unreal, which with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust.
Following such conclusions, the demoniac, who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world.
Taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demoniac, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent.
They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, the anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and desire, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification.
Okay, Elijah, you got to sound really mean for this one.
I don't know if I can.
I know you'll have to really put on an act.
All right.
Be dramatic. Be dramatic.
The demonic person thinks so much wealth, I can't do it. So much wealth that I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him. My other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am the perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance.
Okay. What do you think? I thought that was pretty good. That was
Yeah.
about as mean as Elijah can get. All right. Let's move on.
Thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into hell.
Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only, without following any rules or regulations.
Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion.
Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, and into the various demonic species of life.
Attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence.
There are 3 gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul.
The man who has escaped these 3 gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination.
Let's read this purport.
One should be very careful of these 3 enemies to human life: lust, anger, and greed. The more a person is free from lust, anger, and greed, the more his existence becomes pure.
Then he can follow the rules and regulations enjoined in the Vedic literature. By following the regulative principles of human life, one gradually raises himself to the platform of spiritual realization.
If one is so fortunate by such practice to rise to the platform of Krishna consciousness, then success is guaranteed for him. In the Vedic literature, the ways of action and reaction are prescribed to enable one to come to the stage of purification.
The whole method is based on giving up lust, greed, and anger. By cultivating knowledge of this process, one can be elevated to the highest position of self-realization. This self-realization is perfected in devotional service.
and not devotional service, the liberation of the conditioned soul is guaranteed. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, there are instituted the four orders of life and the four statuses of life, called the caste system and the spiritual order system.
There are different rules and regulations for different castes or divisions of society, and if a person is able to follow them, he will be automatically raised to the highest platform of spiritual realization. Then he can have liberation without a doubt.
All right. So what did you think of that purport? It was, I don't know. Did it really hit you? Like, he's talking about the four orders, and I don't know, when he goes into that, I'm like, well, I don't know. Where do I fit into all of this? And following all of these things, it's like a bunch of rules. I don't know. What do you see in there? Anybody? Maybe I'm just a demon when all I see is a bunch of rules. It's like, come on, give me, I want some inspiration.
I kind of got from it, you have to, in order to like be elevated to a higher platform, you have to realize that you have to cast aside lust, greed, and anger to become purified.
Yeah. Yeah, that was starting to sound pretty interesting at the beginning of the purport. That's why I said, let's read this. But then, if one is so fortunate by such practice to rise to the platform of Krishna consciousness, then success is guaranteed for him. Okay, that's pretty cool. The whole method is based on giving up lust, greed, and anger. I don't know. When I read stuff and it says you have to give up these things, I don't know. I like it when he says, take this up here. This is good. Here are some good things. But we do also have to give up some things, and we do need some structure and order. There are different kinds of... Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, all the things that he's saying to give up, they're all negative things, so it's not, you know, a bad thing to be giving up.
True.
But you know, I think it's directed more to an Indian way of growing up. You know what I mean? Because he's talking about different divisions of society and the castes and Vedic literature. I mean, you grew up in the West. This is all kind of foreign. That's why it's kind of hard to swallow a little bit. Drugs, rock and roll, and now we're being told like we got to like, you know, follow these Vedic instructions, caste system, etc. It's hard. But if I, you know, I could see myself, if I grew up in an Indian village where my family followed all the Vedic traditions and had all this knowledge and followed the rules of the caste system, would be easier. Why has, you know, this is very difficult for the audience that's reading it, or for me anyway.
Yeah, good. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I guess that's what I was going toward. That's the thing that was just kind of like, oh, here we go again with this stuff. But he was really seeing like, because when he wrote this purport, he was talking to Americans. He wrote this when he came to America, and his disciples were saying, they were asking, is there a Bhagavad Gita that we can read? Because he'd been teaching Bhagavad Gita classes from another book, and he was telling them, don't read the commentaries in here. These commentaries are really bad. These are the commentaries that he's criticizing throughout these commentaries, saying this guy is not a devotee of Krishna. He doesn't even believe in Krishna. He's got no business writing a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita without Krishna. What kind of book is that? And so his disciples asked, well, we want to read Bhagavad Gita. And so he said, all right, I'll put one together. Did you know that he had written a commentary on Bhagavad Gita years before? And he had, that was back in the days of typing on paper or handwriting on paper. It was all stacked up. He had the commentary. It was almost finished. And while he was on a business trip, he was traveling around selling his pharmacy materials. And every opportunity he took, he would do a kirtan program at someone's house, kirtan and a lecture. And someone said to him, I really like what you're about. I've been wanting to publish a Bhagabad Gita. Have you written a commentary on it? I'd be willing to fund that. So he wasn't Bhaktivedanta Swami at that time. He was Abhay. So Abhay went home when on his trip home, he was just so excited. Oh boy, and I've got it all there. It's on my desk and I'm going to get that and I'll just go through it. And I told the guy, yes, it's almost ready. And so this is so exciting. I get to publish a book. Somebody's going to fund it. And he got home and he looked and it wasn't on his desk where he thought it would be. He looked in his cupboards and he looked in his closet. He looked in the drawers. It wasn't anywhere. And they didn't know where it went. And nobody said anything about it. Nobody said, I threw it away but he suspected the servant took the paper and just sold it for the paper. But anyway, those are the kind of disappointments that Prabhupada had to face. I always thought it would be a really provocative title for a lecture to say the 108 failures of Srila Prabhupada. And just to tell all of the things that went wrong in his life that a normal person would have gotten disappointed and left. But because he had steady determination, just like Elijah. Elijah, are you still with us?
Yep.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Because Prabhupada had steady determination. He took the same one that you did. He also had fearlessness at the top of the list. That's what his name means, Abhay. He kept on going. How many failures he faced? Oh man, everybody talks about the stroke on the ship over. He had 2 of them. There were other failures. While he was on the ship, he wrote a letter back to one of his godbrothers. He said, while I was on that ship, I could not eat the food. I tried, but it made me so sick. I just couldn't touch it. Fortunately, we stopped at a port and the captain bought a little hot plate for him and a pot so he could do his own cooking in his own little kitchen. And he said, if I had not done that, that captain saved my life, that little cooker. It's also said that while he was at sea, they observed Janmashtami, and he cooked a little feast on that little tiny stove, and he gave prasad to all of the members, all of the crew. He had a little talk about Janmashtami. And then the next day was Prabhupada's birthday, but nobody knew. There's no celebration. So let's see, how'd I get off onto that? Prabhupada translating this, Bhagavad Gita, he's speaking to Americans. Now, that was the thing I wanted to get at, is this is just so weird.
Yeah.
He knows Americans don't like the caste system, but he doesn't care.
Is he talking about the 4 stages of life, though, when you're a
Yeah.
student and a householder or a brahmachari, then a householder, and then a retired person?
Yeah.
Is that what he means? He can't mean the
4 varnas and the 4 ashrams. But he's not afraid to use that word, the caste system, even though he knows it carries a lot of...
because that confused...
Yeah.
Isaac?
I was just going to say it confused me because I did. I wasn't sure if you followed like the caste system in, like, you know, the sense that it is in India, within Krishna consciousness, because my understanding was that it was to, like, you know, it was for everyone. It wasn't like, you know, a person that was in a lower class could become Brahmin or whatnot.
Yeah, he was very critical of the caste system.
Mm.
Half the time he's criticizing it, and the other half he's saying we should do it.
Because his spiritual master was against it too, yeah.
Well, yeah, but the phrase varnashram dharma means there are the 4 varnas and the 4 ashrams. The varnas are like the division of labor, division of jobs. You have the Brahminical, the Kshatriyas, the martial
Oh, yeah.
caste, then you've got the merchants, and then the Shudras. And most of us are Shudras. If you're working for someone else, taking a paycheck, that's a Shudra occupation, according to his description. If you've got it together enough to run your own business, you are your own boss, then that's a Vaishya tendency. And if you have good managerial skills, martial skills, political skills, then Kshatriya, and then the Brahmins, the
What if you're
Pandits.
none of those?
Hmm?
What if you're none of those?
None of those, then you're an outcast.
Sweet.
Harijan, untouchable.
By the
Yeah.
way, sorry,
Mm-hmm. Well,
before we
actually,
move on,
in
you know,
America, we're all considered untouchable. We're all outside of the caste system. Go ahead, Anandi.
sorry, I mean, I've been very truthful with you guys. I've never been able to read the Bhagavad Gita before, but now that I've started, I really feel like I might want to read other versions of it. And also, have you heard of Yaneshwari, which is Yaneshwar Maharaj's take on the Bhagavad Gita, a saint from Maharashtra?
The name does sound somewhat familiar. I haven't read it. What line
Yeah, I
is?
have it. I have it. The print is I can't read the print.
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna try to read what Yaneshwar Maharaj says about the Bhagavad Gita, because he was definitely a saint from Maharashtra. At a young age, at 19, he just walked into the tomb, after he did this Yaneshwari, and they say he's still alive in that tomb.
Oh, okay. Um, in the lineage from Tukaram.
I don't know whether it's the lineage of Tukaram, but Yaneshwar Maharaj is in Alandi, his Samadhi shrine, very famous, as is Tukaram.
Okay, I don't know, but yeah, cultivation of transcendental knowledge. Now that's Isaac's thing. You're just cultivation of what was yours?
A purification of my existence.
Purification of existence. Okay, so that could come about by cultivation of transcendental knowledge.
Right.
So you can read it and
I just
you'll see if you feel.
check out Yaneshwari whenever you get a chance. It's beautiful. It's
Okay.
written by Saint.
Yeah, yeah.
You can read
There,
the print.
we talked about going to India last night. Are you still on the call with us? And we let's see, because Isaac and Muchu are both going to India next year, and I said, well,
Potentially.
take me along. Potentially,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
And let's see, who else was on the call with us and said, let's do a Lord Chaitanya tour. We'll visit the
Suprita.
place. Suprita, oh yeah. So we talked about places that he visited. And let's see.
I looked on maps to see how far and how long it would take to walk from Shantipur to Vrindavan, and it was like 258 hours or something.
Oh, to bring, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 250. Okay, going at a fast rate, that would take 2 weeks.
Hmm.
That would be walking really fast.
Hmm.
Um,
Have fun.
what's that?
I said, have fun.
We'll take you in your wheelchair. We'll
Oh,
set
no.
it up like a rickshaw. Isaac can pull it. Okay, so here is Prabhupada saying the man who has escaped these three gates of hell performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains supreme destination. Oh, that's kind of interesting. You escape the three gates of hell, then you can perform acts conducive to self-realization, which is what the first few verses are about. So to engage in those, yeah, you kind of have to go through those rings of fire and not get burned. Uh, Again, it's sounding kind of like a video game. Escape the three gates of hell. Um, you could have your character going up and up and up, and then there's a lust, and then is he going to fall prey to it, and then keep going until you make it past lust, then anger, then greed. Then you can engage in acts conducive to self-realization, and thus gradually attain the supreme destination. And so that's what the purport is about.
Don't you need grace for this? I mean, I think that's what my problem with what Krishna is saying over here.
Yeah,
Don't you need his grace? I mean, giving up lust, anger, and greed, you need grace. You need the Guru's grace. You need Krishna's grace.
yeah,
That's what's missing for me.
yeah. Hmm. And it's not clearly spelled out in the text itself. Yeah, it's there in chapter 10, where Krishna says, those who approach me with love, I give the intelligence by which they can come to me. Out of compassion for them, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. And so ignorance is pretty much the same thing as lust, anger, greed.
I should write that down. Yes, I should write that down because you
Yeah.
definitely need grace. You can't just be born in the material world and decide you're going to give all this shit up. It's not easy.
Yes. Yes, it's not that easy. And that was something else I wanted to bring up reading the purport. I was like, what? Just give it up? Yeah, just cast it aside, as Isaac does. Just cast it. Was that you that said that?
I don't think so.
Somebody said it. You made it sound so easy. All right, well, let's move on. Here's some more. This is Krishna just said some really angry things in 2 verses about where the bad people go. They're just trapped. So the bad qualities trap us. Now, I've read some of this stuff with, let's see, I had a friend who was a rabbi. And he asked me, are there, anyway, when we read this together, he was surprised, like, this is, Krishna is so merciful. He saw it as compared to his Old Testament kind of things. He saw this as like so open, so welcoming, so full of grace compared to their scriptures, which are really a lot of rules and things. But I'm sure there's grace in there too if you know how to find it. All right, so let's move on. I think there's only
2, and then I have
2
to
more
run.
verses. Whose turn is it? Who gets to read 23?
it was Matthew's turn.
Okay. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination.
Okay, so this chapter, there's a lot about being saintly. Just means you
One
follow the.
should therefore understand. Oh,
Go ahead.
one should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated.
Okay, lots of rules and regulations. Anandi's disappointed because she's looking for grace.
Not really, like I said, if you grew up in an Indian household where this was commonly practiced, it would be much easier. And then you get grace of the Guru and grace of the Lord, and it would be, done.
Yeah, Prabhupada was working with a lot of hippies who had no rules, and he just saw, you people are bewildered. You have no idea where you're going. You're confused. You're not happy. Here are some rules. Follow this. And he
Right.
just made them very cut and dried. Don't do this. He made the 4 regulative principles. Like that is a big saying, the 4 regulative principles. His guru, Bhaktisiddhanta, he didn't impose that on his disciples. It was like, what you do in your home, that's your business. But you chant your rounds. It was very different. But Prabhupada saw these people need a very clear message to follow rules. And let's see, there was some conversation he had before ISKCON got started when he was just like Bhaktivedanta Swami walking around in New York. He met with some yoga teacher, Indian people, and they said, Swamiji, you need to learn to eat meat and to eat with a knife and a fork. You need to wear pants. The climate is so cold. You need to drink alcohol to stay warm. And he said, nope, I'm not going to do that. And instead of wearing pants, I'm going to teach these Westerners how to wear a dhoti and sit on the floor and eat vegetarian food with their fingers. So that was his steady determination. That's what he's doing here. He's talking about the caste system and saying we should implement that. It works. It's a good idea. But we should do it the right way. Pretty bold, fearless. So let's read this last purport.
Sorry, Mitra, I have to run.
All right. What are we
Yeah,
going to do without you supervising us, Anandi?
You guys will be fine.
Just
I'm running
not
off to Tawako.
All right.
It's a great
Haribol,
speaker
thank
to
you
me.
for joining.
Haribo.
Okay. So Elijah, you're next. Purport.
Okay. Sorry. As stated in the 15th chapter, all the rules and regulations of the Vedas are meant for knowing Krishna. If one understands Krishna from the Bhagabad Gita and becomes situated in Krishna consciousness, engaging himself in devotional service, he has reached the highest perfection of knowledge offered by the Vedic literature.
Okay, now as mentioned in the 15th chapter, all the rules and regulations of the Vedas are meant for knowing Krishna. I remember Matthew wanted to read that purport. I think you're the one.
Don't remember.
Remember, it was from me come knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of the Vedanta and the knower of the Vedas. So all of the Vedas are meant for knowing Krishna. All the rules and regulations of the Vedas are meant for knowing Krishna. If one understands Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita and becomes situated in Krishna consciousness, engaging himself in devotional service, He has reached the highest perfection of knowledge offered by the Vedic literature. Okay, Prabhupada just really complimented us for reading the Bhagavad Gita. If you guys are engaged in devotional service, because we're reading Bhagavad Gita, we've reached the highest perfection of knowledge offered in the Vedas. Okay, read on.
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made this process very easy. He asked people simply to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and to engage in the devotional service of the Lord and eat the remnant of foodstuff offered to the deity. One who is directly engaged in all these devotional activities is to be understood as having studied all Vedic literature.
Okay, so he made it really simple. Just 3 things: chant Hare Krishna, engage in devotional service to the Lord, and eat prasad. Chaitanya made it very easy. So that's pretty easy. There's that song Narottam Das Thakur wrote, glorifying Lord Chaitanya. Or wait, maybe it's Lochan Das. Parama Karuna, Pahundoi Jana, Nitai Gora Chandra, Saba Avatar, Sada Shiramani, Kevala Ananda Kanda. So Kevala means simply. So Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda have given Kevala Ananda Kanda. So Ananda means happy, Kanda means performed. So a process, a simply joyful process. Singing Hare Krishna, discuss Bhagavad Gita, engage in some service to the deity in the temple, and take prasad. It's not very hard. It is a lot of fun. We organized a festival and we called it the Ananda Kanda Mela. So Mela means festival. And that was popular. It was all based around those 3 things: hearing, chanting, and prasad. All right, so go ahead, Matthew.
He has come to the conclusion perfectly. Of course, for the ordinary persons who are not in Krishna consciousness or who are not engaged in devotional service, what is to be done and what is not to be done must be decided by the injunctions of the Vedas.
One should act accordingly without argument. That is called following the principles of Shastra or scripture.
Shastra is without the 4 principal defects that are visible in the conditioned soul: imperfect senses, the propensity for cheating, certainty of committing mistakes, and certainty of being illusioned. These 4 principal defects in conditioned life disqualify one from putting forth rules and regulations.
Therefore, the rules and regulations, as described in the Shastra, being above these defects, are accepted without alteration by all great saints, acharyas, and great souls. In India, there are many parties of spiritual understanding generally classified as 2, the impersonalist and the personalist.
Both of them, however, lead their lives according to the principles of the Vedas. Without following the principles of the scriptures, one cannot elevate himself to the perfection stage.
One who actually, therefore, understands the purport of the Shastras is considered fortunate. In human society, aversion to the principles of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all fall-downs.
That is the greatest defense of human life. Therefore, Maya, the material energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always giving us trouble in the shape of the 3-fold miseries.
This material energy is constituted of the 3 modes of material nature. One has to raise himself at least to the mode of goodness before the path to understanding the Supreme Lord can be opened.
Without raising oneself to the standard of the mode of goodness, one remains in ignorance and passion, which are the cause of demoniac life. Those in the modes of passion and ignorance deride the scriptures, deride the holy man, and deride the proper understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
They disobey the instructions of the spiritual master, and they do not care for the regulations of the scriptures. In spite of hearing the glories of devotional service, they are not attracted.
Thus, they manufacture their own way of elevation. These are some of the defects of the human society which lead to the demoniac status of life.
If, however, one is also to be guided by a proper and bona fide spiritual master who can lead one to the path of elevation to the higher stage, then one's life becomes successful.
Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 16th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the divine and demonic natures. Okay. Anything from that? Any controversy?
When I think about it personally, like, cause I have some trouble with some of the regulations. Actually, there's one, but I'm like, I'm screwed.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's it. We're washed up. But really, like Anandi said, it's by grace, and we just stay in the game. We're going to have problems. Actually, that was addressed in chapter 9. Krishna said that if someone is my devotee and they have a little problem, their character isn't right, but if they stay devoted, in the purport, Prabhupada says, if there's some accidental fall down, but if it's a perpetual thing, he says, well, then you're not really serious. But still, I mean, some of us do have a perpetual kind of addiction or problem, and that doesn't exclude us from coming into this. And sometimes with that, it brings us to a level of humility, which is really healthy. Stay at it, keep going, and always feel like I really don't deserve this, but Krishna's so nice, he's letting me do this anyway.
Mhm.
And I know Krishna's nice. There's actually a prayer by Rupa Goswami saying, I know I've got no business approaching you, and I know that people that are better yogis and meditators than me have meditated for countless lifetimes, and they haven't even been able to see one of your toenails. But I'm asking you, not just for a toenail, I'm asking you for both of your feet. Man manasa madhukaram arpaya nija padam. I want you to place both your feet in my heart. In my mind, man manasa madhukaram. My mind is like a bee going to the lotus flower of your feet. Let it stay there. That's all I'm asking for. Let my mind go to your lotus feet. And he said, I know I don't have any qualification. He says, I don't have a tila matra, which means I don't have a sesame seed of devotion. But one thing I've got is the conviction. I've heard that you're very merciful, and so I'm counting on that. And you are Durgata Gatavam Vedatri. You make that which is impossible possible. So even though it seems impossible, yeah, we've got habits and addictions and things that we'd like to give up, but yeah, we haven't given them up over the years and probably won't give them up. But don't give up approaching Krishna and keep going, and gradually all of those things are really, they're just going to fall to the side.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else?